Hello, my most amazing artists. I'm holding the phone today, so if it gets a little wobbly, sorry. Also, I have a new friend. We have a new cat. She's a little black cat. Her name is Spooky, and she's on the table right in front of me right now. I'll try to show her to you in just a second. She's a mess, you guys. Today, I am going to start a challenge. She just jumped off the table and slid down the guest bed. Anyway, I'm going to start a challenge today all about drawing animals of the alphabet. And when I taught really little ones, we call them animal alphabet friends. And so I might say that quite a bit, and you're going to be like, what? But I'm going to try to draw a lot of different animals. I don't have an animal for every letter because there's not one for X, you guys, really. But we're going to start at the beginning and going to try to teach you to draw the ones that I have. I'm using models, and they are actually toys from a company called Playmobil. And I've been collecting their animals for a long time. Ever since my kids were little, I used them, bought them for my kids, use them in my classroom, things like that. So we're going to get started. Let's go on with our challenge. Hello, friends, and welcome. So obviously, this is the very beginning. We're going to start with A. And for my Playmobil animals, I have an alligator. Now, I've talked to you guys a bit about drawing these in class before, and I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do it. If you're really nervous about drawing, but you really want to do some art, you can do some easy things. For instance, if you stand up, this is easier. You can trace, just keeping in mind that when you go back, you are going to have to fix some stuff. So here I am, just my pencil's super sharp. I'm tracing. Oops, and see, I got that kind of wide, so I'm gonna have to go back and fix that later. So I'm just gonna go all around the body. I'm making sure to hold it firm on the paper because I don't want it to shift. And going around. It's not easy to do, which is why standing up is actually a little bit easier to do this with. Now when I lift the alligator up, you're gonna see some wonky stuff. So if you see wonky stuff, don't get freaked out. Oh, it's actually not too bad. See, I fixed this arm here, so I can just go back and erase. The nose is a little messed up, but that's okay. I can fix that too. And then I'm going to look very carefully and fix things. There's my nostrils. I've got these kind of little indents here for the eyes. The eyes kind of stick out a little bit. So I've got the basic shape of the alligator. Now I'm going to show you how to draw it, and I also have a baby because most of our animals had babies. So you can trace it or you can draw it. I'm going to show you how to draw it with shapes. So I'm looking at the biggest shape is kind of this oval, right? So I'm gonna just sketch this oval out. Then I'm gonna come to this next shape, and it just kind of comes up like this and out, just like that. And I'm just very sketchy at this point. And my tail. I'm going back and forth with my eyes, back and forth. And my hand is just doing what my eyes are following. It's very sketchy, nothing permanent yet. Now the legs have kind of this big joint, almost like that's their femur. And then kind of this weird little crabby frog kind of joint here. And then their feet are big and webbed. And I check all this to make sure that it lines up and looks good before I start putting in details. So I'm kind of getting the shape down first. Now the forearms, that's probably the elbow right there. And the forearms. This is probably like these would be the shoulders here. And then be the hands. Okay, that looks pretty good. So a couple of things I noticed, I need the tail to be a little bit more slender. Just a little bit too big. And it needs to taper out a little bit more. So get a little bit smaller at the bottom. All right, now that I've done shape, now I'm going to add lines. So I'm gonna go back and I'm going to make this look like a drawing. Now I'm very carefully following my eye all the way around as best as I can. There's some teeth here. I'm not really sure how to draw those, so I'm kind of just making some bumps. There's those little indentions again. I'm gonna go in here and draw, get this as right as I can. Of course, everyone makes mistakes. That's why we have erasers. And that's why you are learning. There we go. There's a little bit of a crease here. And when I first do this sketch, I don't push very hard with my pencil. When I'm going back and putting the lines in for the final drawing, I am pushing a lot harder. That's allowing me to really darken the lines I want my audience to focus on and keep those other lines a lot lighter. Okay. I'm really, really trying to follow. I'm correcting any small things. Like this leg was a little bit higher. It still is a little bit, but that's okay. Just trying to do my best to correct things as I move along. If I don't catch something, it's okay. Because I'm just here to have fun and to learn. This is one of the few subjects there will not be a test on. Thankfully, because creativity is really important, but it's not something that we do tests on. Okay. Okay, I've got my line. So now my drawing is set. Now I'm going to erase some of these sketch lines that I had, just to kind of clean it up just a little bit. Oops, I brushed the baby off the paper. I won't, we'll be doing a lot of animals together this year, so hopefully, this is just the first one. Hopefully you'll learn a lot. Anytime you need to, pause this video and draw with me, or draw the alligator by yourself. All right, it's pretty much cleaned up. It's not great, but I'm not gonna worry about it. All right, next I'm going to add pattern. So on each animal, there's either scales, hair, feathers, you know, that kind of thing. So this alligator has some scales. Now if I sat here and drew each individual scale, this would get really overburdened with detail. You do not want the detail to be so much that it draws attention from what you're doing. So I'm just going to sketch a few of these little scales. And also, you guys, when I'm drawing houses, this is kind of what I do with the roof, the roof shingles as well. And they have these straight, I think they look kind of strange, but that's how the toy company made this. So I don't know that I'm going to keep them all very straight. And I'm just, again, I went back into kind of a sketchy sketch mode. And I'm just kind of doing a few of them. I'm not, you know, drawing ruler lines, spacing them out perfectly. We really don't need to do that. And then they get down here, and then there's just a little bitty one on the tail. All right, there's my pattern. Now my texture is also the pattern because I've got some texture here, but I can add texture with color and shadows. So I'm going to show you that now. We're going to do color and then we're going to do color of the animal. So let's see. Actually, before we do that, let's draw the baby before we start getting into the wet stuff. Let's put our baby with our mama here. I might be able to draw this without having to do the sketching part. We'll see. Maybe, maybe not. The really good thing about the sketching is when you get the whole animal down, then you can go back and it's a lot easier than just trying to draw part of it and then having part of it be too big or too small and then being so upset that you have to erase everything. That is not fun. I drew the hard way for years. I wish I had been taught to sketch, but alas, that's all right. Okay. So now we're going to go in with color and texture. Balance and proportion is important too. You want to make sure that your mom and your baby are in proportion and they're balanced on the, balanced composition. So I have these kind of in the middle. If I wanted it to be symmetrical, I'd put another baby here. But I'm just sketching today. It's not a big deal. And let's do this. Let's put the letter we're working with today. There we go. All right. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and do some colors. So I just have the same watercolors that we use. Not the same watercolors we use in class. These are actually not as good. So you guys have better ones. I'm going to get a little bit of green, of course, because this alligator's green. And I'm just going to go through and give some color to this. Yeah, and if you'll notice, I don't have my messy mat. I couldn't find it before I started taping, so I just used this cutting mat. So I figured it would work. I don't know. I've got different amounts of animals for different letters. For A, I just have alligators. So this will be kind of a short video for this, but like B is going to be long, C is going to be long. I've got lots of C animals like camel, cat, cow, things like that. So we'll just see how that goes. I might have to do some quicker sketching for those so they're not like 30-minute long videos. I'm just using copy paper, so you can't do a whole lot with watercolor layers because once this paper gets wet, it's very, very fragile. But I wanted to use some materials you guys would have at home. Okay. And look, it's bleeding. Oh, I don't like that. Ugh. Well, there's nothing like experimenting to find out, huh, friends? We might have to do the rest of these with colored pencil. And that's okay if we do. All right, I'm gonna do a little bit of a yellow on the baby and then do a green over that and see what it looks like. Let's see if we can maybe make it look kind of cool. I don't know. I'm just dabbing that green into the yellow to let it blend. Yeah, it's really bleeding out a lot on the paper, which I'm not really fond of, but yeah, it is what it is. Okay, let's talk about, let's see. So texture, we did that one with our pattern and texture of our scales. We did color. Okay, value, we did form when we did all of our sketching. To show value, you can do shadows. This is not going to be easy to do. And you would only do a shadow really on one side. And shadows are always cool. They're always cool colors, like this gray, blue, purple, any kind of wintry colors are shadows. And then we could do a little bit a shadow on the baby. Oh, this is really hard to tell because paint's bleeding a lot. I think for the bee animals, I'll probably just go to colored pencils, you guys, because the paint's not working very well. We have better paper than this in our classroom, I hope. All right, let's see. There's a lot of contrast between the alligator, the shadow, and the paper. I really like that. We have this light green, the shadow, and the paper. And if you'll make the shadow really dark right next to whatever object and then lighten it out, you guys, that looks really, really cool. I'm having to be really careful not to draw through this paper because it's really fragile right now that it's wet. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm just making it really dark right next to the object and then slowly making it lighter. Now it looks really realistic that way. My alligator does have yellow eyes, but I think if I put yellow on this, it's not going to be good. I will do a little bit. We'll experiment a little bit more. Bippity boppity boo. It's all right. All right, not too bad. Let's do a little shadow on the tail. A little more of this. But you're gonna learn all the art tricks in this channel. Shadow's a big one. Can really make something look like it's actually sitting on the paper, which is pretty cool. Okay, so there we go, you guys. Here is the one where I traced. Here's the one I sketched and then drew. And they're really, I mean, if you just want to make some art and you don't want to practice your drawing, just trace something. It really goes pretty quickly, and you can fix all these little funky lines and things. So, all right, well, that's it for A, friends, and we will go on with B next time. See you later. You guys, it's time for a spooky break. Here's Abby asleep on the floor in the studio, and here's Spooky with my teddy bear. Hi, Spooky. This is our new baby kitten. Yeah, we got her for Abby, but I don't know. She's really freaked out by the dog. She doesn't like her very much. Oh, see? Oh, calm down. It's okay. It's all right, Spooky. Spooky has orange eyes, you guys, which, I don't know. Yeah, well, they're kind of amber color. They're pretty cool. She's very, very sweet and incredibly playful. And there we go. There's a Spooky and an Abby break. Yeah, you wagging your tail? Yeah, she's a good girl because she's good to the kitty. Yeah, and she doesn't scare the kitty. Good girl, Abby. She's a sweet, sweet dog.